Hey everybody, it's time. It's time to go into the mine. It's time to craft. Think we can all agree that that is true. Why would we not? This is Riff and Craft. Wait, hold the phone. I'm not prepared. Hey, hey you. Hey, wait a minute. Get your brains out of your butts. It's gonna be time for the thing that we do. With introductions to this place, the infinite regression. Yes, this the dying echo of a child's laughter as it grows to be an adult devoid of happiness, devoid of purpose and meaningfulness in life, each day more dreary and nearer the grave than the one before it. My God, will it ever end? Hey, calm, hey. Wait, let's put the infinite regression away. Makes people sad. Look at this. It's Riff and Craft with Rem Pemberton of the Clemson Pembertons. Let's play a theme song, shall we? Yes.
This has always been the theme song. This has always been the theme. This has always been the theme song. This has always been the theme.
Yes, folks, it's the cha that makes it. A little bit of cha. We all need a little bit of cha in our lives. What? No. Oh, they live in caves. I see. So maybe that's what everybody was excited about. Okay, look. We're going into Rom's Pebbles. But here's what you need to know. You need to know this going in. Be prepared to be disappointed. I promise nothing but your disappointment. And wait, what even is happening over here? Why? Oh, that's right. Deep Slate is a thing. For some reason, I thought that I had. Man, it's been a minute since I played Minecraft. Uh, anyway, forget what this even is. I mean, it's still reasonably new, but you know, it looks different from underneath than it does on the face. I mean, all the other ones, they look the same below as they do. Anyway, these have a different patterning below, at least it seems like, than they do from the front. Anyway, that's just Deep Slate Facts. This is Deep Slate Facts with Rem Pemberton of the Clemson Pembertons, and you are listening to one of those snooty ass full of snoot type of Minecraftian shows where they lean in real close to the microphone and talk with a real air of self-importance, and that's how I learned that I was the one who needed to change. Thank you. I will be here all week continuing to disappoint both of my parents. Thank you very much. Anyway, regardless, that's now how we do. I should turn off the clickety clacks. I just love my machine. I named him Jasper. His name is Jasper the Machine. Jasper the Unstoppable Machine. Anyway, he is my friend. My only friend that I have down here. Boy, don't I wish I could have an axolotl, said a person that was not me, because I don't give a crap about axolotls. I know that that's not a popular opinion. That's, in fact, 1, 2, 3, 4. An incredibly unpopular thing to say. People be like, what? That's like not loving sloths 4 years ago. And that could get you hung. The same people that get upset if you don't give enough of a crap about Beyonce, which I don't. Like, I don't dislike her because I nothing her because she doesn't, like, this is not even in my realm of things that's a possibility for me to encounter. You think a guy who has, like, tons of Fish concerts on his friggin', like, first of all, has the MP3s. Okay? Look, I would get Flax, but you think I have that kind of drive storage? Also, how long has it been? And freaking iTunes still doesn't support FLAC as, you know, playback format. They're still pushing their own proprietary AAC. Anyway, regardless, what is this? Techmoan? One of the greatest YouTube channels on the face of the earth? No, this is To Worst Gamer, one of the worst YouTube channels on the face of the earth. Self-serving, ridiculous, and way less like brushed aluminum than Techmoan has by far. You see me rolling out brushed aluminum in this channel? No, you don't. Do I have brushed aluminum? Yes, I do. Yes, I 100% do have brushed aluminum audio equipment because I know how to live my life. Thank you very much. But, and this is a big but, this is like Beyonce's butt, I guess, is a big, I don't know, compared to other butts. Compared to mine, probably pretty big. I have Hank Hill on the backside. Thank you very much. I have to wear like external butt sacks when I ride in the lawnmower races. And well, I had a blowout come around a corner. One of my buddies threw me one of his butt cheeks, and I finished the race on a borrowed butt cheek. You know what I'm saying? Lawnmower racing. Because, dang it, Bobby, I sell propane and propane accessories. Oh, I tell you what. Anyway, regardless, that is, I don't know why we're talking about this. Oh, right, axolotls. Man, I talk myself in circles. Okay, like, I don't give a crap about axolotls because I'm on to this generation. Like, just know that I'm on to you. And I'm done with your nonsense when it comes to pop cultural artifacts. And, like, are axolotls a pop cultural artifact? Well, in a normal freaking generation, no. Like, that you maybe something tangible like slap bracelets might be for a certain generation, but not, like living animals. Like, well, actually, hold it. I'm about to take this back. My own generation had frogs. People were crazy about frogs, peace frogs. Man, you remember that? Kids who were in high school in the 1990s? Boy, what dinguses you all were. I was about to say we, but then I was like, I wasn't part of that crap. I thought it was stupid at the time. Thank you very much. And people were going to come at me and be like, what do you have against frogs? Nothing. I love frogs. I think frogs are delightful, but like not in the way that you do it, Because there's this thing, and this is new. Like, well, maybe it's not new. Maybe what the frick? Is that a mob in my mind? Way down there? It looketh like one of them. Oh, is it just the end of a... Oh, man. Oh, that's right, because I poured it... Whew. From the perspective, that looked like one of the bad guys with the banners and whatnots. The Raiders, the Tuscan Raiders. Pretty sure they're called Tuscan Raiders. I must be 100% correct about that because I am male and I have a certain feeling of surety. Therefore, these two things combined make me 100% correct the maleness and that feeling of like, yeah, I know what I'm talking about. Oh yes, the unearned privilege that I have of feeling like I'm right all the freaking time. God, what must it be like, you who don't have such like unearned privilege and like ridiculous usages of it? Um, yeah, what do you think that's like? Uh, well, ladies, it's like peeing standing up. Um, or if you are, male, but like if you are female and not white, like, oh, I am sorry about how hard life is. I 100% thought that was a guy again. Anyway, um, but like, man, it's rough out there for the ladies. Like, I know that we Me Too movemented and everything, but like that doesn't solve all the ills of society. Like, it just does not. We're starting to believe female victims more. I'm not gonna like say, oh, that's not good. Like, it's not everything. It's a step in the right direction on a journey of needing a lot more steps in that direction. Anyway, and same with minorities in this country. My God, like, yes, we declared Juneteenth a national holiday, so we actually uh, have another day off. That's kind of like, hey, a little reminder. Like, are you still racist? Because the country agreed that like we are going to celebrate the end of slavery. So if you're racist, what the crap are you doing? Like, we officially do not, like, our government doesn't anymore support open racism. They used to, yeah, sure. And they used to as many as like a year ago. Like, honestly, it hasn't been that long since 45 was wrecking through this place like a freaking wrecking ball, tearing down everything good that he could find. Anyway, so yeah, and like making white supremacists very comfortable. Like, I'm not saying he is one. I'm just saying, like, you know, they seemed comfortable with how he was running things. What is that I just picked up? Oh, tough. That's right. I forget about some of these things, and I'm like, what even is that? Anyway, I don't know about these new materials. All I know is that the deep slate looks cool. It's dark and it's easier to acquire than freaking obsidian. So yeah, we're just gonna roll with it, and y'all are just gonna have to deal with it, cause you're new with it. I'm through with it. I just swang the thing, and then I'm through with it. Cause I'm Nick Hexum. I'm the one who knows about things, and it takes two, and he swings better than you. I mean, why would I not know 311 lyrics? I mean, God, you're walking around with amber colored energy and you're asking me why I know 311 lyrics? Is this what's happening? Have I summarized the situation properly? I don't know if I like tough at all. And so I'm just gonna toss the tough. I mean, I really don't have room for all the things. I need to keep some gravel because making obsidian with the stupid lava over there was a stupid decision that I regret to this very day. Thank you very much. The people with your like, oh, just take a water bucket. No, gravel it up so that the lava exists no more. Like, if you need a lava bucket, grab one. Like, you're going to need more than one lava bucket? Like, what are you doing? Building incinerators all over the place. Anyway, you're ridiculous and should feel ridiculous. And that's what I have to say about that. Do I have any other things that I need to get rid of? No, I do not. Okay. Wait, no, that's more deep slate. Okay. Because everything else is good to go. Alright. Anyway, I mean, obviously I have to put my redstones and my emeralds away. Man, I got a lot of coal. It's just price of being a coalman, I guess. Anyway, we'll go throw some things in the incinerator, and we'll keep it going. Yep, that's how we do that. Anyway, boop, badoop, boop, boop, badoop. You know, like, how people gonna be racist in the here and now? Like, that's as dumb a thing as I've ever heard in my entire life. Like, okay, if you're racist in the 1800s, it's not good. I'm not going to say it's fine or it's good or like, oh, the more people do it, the more acceptable bad behaviors are. Nope, I'm not going to make those arguments at all, like, because I don't believe in them, quite frankly, because there were plenty of people doing the right thing in the oldens of times. And so, like, if you were a reasonable person, rather than a person who just ran with the zeitgeist, the spirit of those times, if you were a person who actually was thoughtful and a critical thinker, then those are the people who are worthy of my esteem anyway. Like, anyone who, in a time where not enough people were being critical thinkers, was a critical thinker, you are heroic, and I like you, and there should be books written about you. For real though, because like, if you're a person, what? Oh yeah, that's right. Say you're a person who, early on, like back when we were still calling AIDS grids, gay related immune disease, I think is what it stood for. Or disease syndrome or something. Anyway, but like, if back in those days, oh, I know I can E out of this, because I did get used to playing the olden kinds where you can't E out of things. Anyway, yeah, I'll go throw that extra cobblestone in there, and then we'll go back to digging. Anyway, people, here, have some of that and more of this. Anyway. I mean, obviously, like, it's easy for me to say that, yeah, like, to be like, hey, these are people who are on the right side of history. If you were on the right side of women's rights early, if you're on the right side of LGBTQ rights early, if you're on the right side of, like, just people other than cisgendered white landowning Protestant men, which, like, is just, that's carbon copies of our founding fathers is what that is. If you take the straight cisgendered landowning white Protestant men, like, it's our founding fathers. Anyway, so wait, I did not have 3 yet. Anyway, so, like, yeah, if you're into the rights of anyone who's not all those things early on, then kudos to you, Buckaroo. Like, you're on the right side. You know what's really interesting though is that we had a like, okay, here's the thing, is that like I reached a point where I'm not particularly concerned about being punished by any god. You know what I'm saying? Because like there are 2,000 concepts of God on the face of the earth right now. That's just right now. That's not like, since the dawn of time, how many gods have there been? No, that's like how many gods are there right now that you could potentially be worshiping, right? And which you would be raised to worship if you were brought up in the like cultural and regional area in which that religion holds sway. Like that's kind of how those things go for the most part, is like it's easy to bring people up in a religion when that's the religion of the area. Or even if it's not the religion of the area, it's easy to also bring someone up in the religion and then perpetuate an oppression narrative, that we're the oppressed minority always. Even if you're only an oppressed minority in that area, you can still perpetuate that idea throughout the generations. It's fun. Just kidding. It's not as terrible, and it can cause a lot of problems in the world. So, given the fact that there are 2,000 gods which could be worshipped in the world right now. Now, here's a fun one. Hey, person listening, are you thinking of Buddha as one of these gods? Oh, take him off the list. He's not a god. No one worships him as a god because he's not. He's merely an enlightened one, a shower of the path, the original discoverer of the correct path, but not the one who made it. The one who made it would be a god, but there's no necessary god concept in Buddhism. Do Buddhists believe in gods? Yeah, but they're always like the local gods in the area in which the people are living. So, for example, if you are Chinese and a Buddhist, then you are you believe in the teachings of Buddha, but you also keep to the practices of whichever gods belong to the regional religion that is prevalent wherever you happen to live. And there are like many local animistic religions. There are Brahmanistic traditions here, there, and everywhere. I mean, it's the whole thing. In Southeast Asia, you'll find a lot of like Hinduism mixed with Buddhism. Is just a very common thing. Anyways, so yeah, fun fact. When I say there are over 2,000 gods, and you're like, okay, where there's the one of Christianity, the one of Judaism, the one of Islam. Haha, trick on you. Those three are all the same. Those are the same God. I mean, granted, it doesn't make those particular religions happy to be reminded of the fact that they all technically worship the same God, but they technically do. They worship whichever God made a covenant with the biblical Abraham. That is who they worship as God. And so, like, that is true of Jews, that is true of Christians, that is true of Muslims. All three. That's why they are the Abrahamic religions. So, like, you got to take Buddha off. You got to take. So, how many gods can you personally think of? I can think of a few. And quite frankly, not nearly enough of them. It's just kind of sad, even as a person who is, relatively knowledgeable about such things. I can name shockingly few. Um, anyway, so here's the fact: is that in so many religions, like one of the things you'll find in a lot of religions is an idea of like the saved and the damned, and the saved are the us, and the damned are the people who are the not us, because otherwise, why have a religion? Why have a religion if it's not going to save us by living it? But by extension, if it's going to save us, it can't save the not us, the other, because if it saves the other as well as us, then it's good for nothing because it just saves everybody regardless of what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? So, like, most religions will have some concept of, like, well, because we are the faithful believer, we are saved and we are better off and we are special good in a way that those who are not and cannot be. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, are these two different things moving in different directions? That might be a... Oh, geez, that might be a problem. Anyway, because I already have too much coal. Anyway, I'll pick it up because sometimes you be digging coal and then you find them diamonds. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, you do know what I'm saying. You are well aware of what I'm saying. Anyway, I'm telling you how you're feeling about what I'm saying. Okay. Yeah, so if a lot of religions are going to have this concept of like either you're us and saved or you are other and damned, well then, oh, hey now, you're an all-star. See, that's under a spot that I've already mined. I would not have known about these diamonds had I not come down here. That's why you do that. Ta-da! I'm the only two. That's sad. Give me more. I want more diamonds. Anyway, regardless. Maybe there will be some on the other side. Sometimes that happens. They'll be on the diagonal. Nope. I don't think that's going to happen. Anyway, so yeah. How much time do you really spend worrying about the fact that you are damned to hell in so many religions? You probably don't spend too much time thinking about it because how could you? Like, who has that kind of time? Like to be like, well, let me think about all the different ways that I'm damned. Like, who is spending time on that? Certainly not I, saith the me. Yeah. Anyway. Boop. Boop, boop. Boop, boop. Boop, boop, boop. 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 Anyway. So yeah. Here we go. Get some of these things taken care of. Yeah, keep that cough in. I don't have a cough button. Does it look like I have a cough button? No. If I had one and didn't use it, I would be very rude. Just getting a little water so that I'm not coughing into the microphone. So, if you don't spend time worrying about the religions in which you are damned, then by definition, you do not take those religions seriously at all. You just don't. You don't even consider them in the running for, the real truth about, the universe and how things are. Those big answers that religions provide. You don't believe that those religions are capable of answering life's biggest questions in ways that are acceptable to you. And also you don't think that they hold truth, because like they will make claims about like which God is the true God and things like that, because they certainly don't believe the same God that you do, whichever one that happens to be, if you're a God believing person. So yeah, you spend no time at all wondering if you are damned by the gods of other religions. You don't worry about that. It doesn't keep you up at night. Okay? So that being the case, then why do we put so much stock into are we offending this God or that God or whatever God? Like, I am no great believer in the concept. What the frick? Where the crap did you come from, you stupid idiot? I don't like you. I don't like you, and I don't like what you stand for. I don't like your kind at all. Oh, man, I don't like you, Sam I Ament. You piece of crap creeper. Was there a torch that was supposed to go somewhere and is not there? Because I guess it's pretty dark over here because of all the deep slate. But like, I'm not putting extra torches. This is how many torches I put. Anyway, I guess I'll just have to deal with. Wait, I have an iron helmet. Oh, that's right, because I died, right? Didn't I die? I don't know. I don't remember. So, yeah, like, I'm hearing bat screeches and footsteps, huh? Anyway, so yeah, like these religions, have their claims of unique truth and unique access to truth and unique knowledge about God, which God is right and which God super much needs to be followed. Hold up. Give me just 1 second. Oh, jeez, really? This guy. Blech. Okay. All right. So, yeah, like, let's all agree on a proposition that, like, religion is pretty, how you say, it's, boop, boop, a doop. It's a pretty well zero-sum game in a lot of ways. Like, you can't really, there's not a lot of room for, like, John Frum of the Cargo Cults to be the one and only true God, and also the Yahweh, but only the Yahweh of Christianity. You know what I'm saying? All these religions are pretty, zero sum for the other sects, the other religions. Like, they don't leave a lot of room for like oh, it might be multiples. I mean, there are some religions, I've seen some, like I encountered one when I lived in Cambodia, it was a Chinese religion that was like, hey, you want to know what's cool? What's cool is that like uh Jesus and Buddha and Vishnu and they did have Buddha in there, I'm pretty sure. And Vishnu and Shiva and like all of these gods, and also um uh like I'm trying to think of other gods that were there. Oh, they had Santa Claus in there. And it's like, well, Santa Claus is not a god. And it's like, well, but he does godly things. Like, I asked one of the adherents about it because they were giving us literature, which I really wish I kept, but I did not keep it. Um, but anyway, yeah, because, like, his stuff about, like, Santa Claus is total like just as much a god as Jesus, if you recognize this super special, like all gods are just reflections of the one true God. But you know what's funny about that religion is how inclusive they are with the concept of like, oh yeah, they're all just reflections of the one true God. So you can belong to all these things. I keep turning around expecting to see Creeper. So you can believe in like, whatever you want religiously, because what's going to be true is that they're all shadows of the same, thing. It is you could throw out like I've heard other religions like patronizingly throwing out the elephant uh concept, which is like, if you ask a bunch of blind men to describe an elephant and one has it by the leg, it'll be like, oh, it's thick and tall like a tree. And then another one will have it by the tail and he'll be like, oh, it's like a noodly paintbrush. And another one will have it by the trunk and be like, it's like a snake. Because all the parts of the elephant, or the one touches the tusks and he's like, it's like a spear or whatever, and they're all technically correct because they're all describing these minute variations, these little deviations of difference, as to what actually really makes up an elephant. Now, the fun thing about this is that, like, this religion does not even know its own patronizing nature because they're like, yeah, Jesus too. He's cool. Muhammad too. He's cool. Yes. And, whatever Santa Claus and whatever else the crab, Easter Bunny, whatever else you might believe in, it's all good. We're all good with that. Like, we don't have a problem with any of that business. But what they all reflect is the one true God, which is the one we can tell you about, that is, reflected in all of your gods, but not in the way that you maybe should have seen it. It's, yeah, it is exactly as patronizing as, like, in America, when you have all the like under God and in God we trust. And I know that like it, okay, first of all, under God added to the Pledge of Allegiance in 1954 during the McCarthy era as a means of ratting out communists. I mean, because why wouldn't you? So, that's the thing. But then like my problem with the God stuff, because like in God we trust is on the money, which like that's kind of fitting because in a lot of ways America is more capitalistic than it is religious. And capitalism is in many ways the true religion. Just ask Joel Osteen. Anyway, that freaking guy. Jesus wants you to be rich, but he wants you to help me to be rich first. Buy my book. you know, and pay my church monies. Anyway, that's a great scam. Anywho's, so this Eastern religion that was like, no, we got the one, the only, the true, but like yours is still in there. They don't realize how like offensive that can be to Western religions, which are so stinking uppity about their claims on like we have the one, the only, the true. Like people die over this stuff for real. Like people die and are killed every day over concepts of like who is the one real true one, of the same basic thing. It's crazy, but that is what goes down in Jerusalem, in friggin' Ireland, in like anywhere where you got the big three. You got a conflict about which one's the right one. And I mean, in Ireland it's funny because they're like, yeah, we believe in the same one technically, but like these guys just do it wrong. It's like, oh man, it gets so convoluted, right? Well, there's this quote that is always misattributed to Marcus Aurelius. Wiki quote or someone was like, we found who the real person to whom this quote should be attributed is. And I don't freaking remember who it's from because, like, I don't give a crap about the actual quote. I just care about the idea. If the idea is solid, then it's worth spreading as a quote. And if it's not, then don't freaking worry about it. Like, we don't need to worry about spreading not great ideas because they hopefully shouldn't appeal to people. Well, we can't rely on that alone. But, at least for me, I'm just, anyway, regardless, I'm just thinking of dumb ideas that large numbers of people believe right now, about just basic stuff, who won the election. This is a basic goddamn question that we feel that we have been able to answer correctly, 45 out of 46 times. And I'll give you number 45. I'll give it to you. Like, hey, did Russia believe that it would benefit much more from getting the guy they got than getting the lady that they might have got? All of our intelligence agencies tell us in the Mueller report, which I have read, it's an actual government report where, some of the best and the brightest in intelligence services went out and got the information as well as they could. And like, I know a lot of people will be like, oh, well, didn't it just show that Trump wasn't involved, so we shouldn't care about it? It's like, yeah, but that's not the only freaking thing that we were looking into, dingus. Like, we wanted to know what Russia was up to. Stupid. Like, because if Russia acted alone, they still acted. It's worth looking into. We've been suspicious of them for many things for many years, and like we can't just bury our heads in the sand and ignore it. Anyway, so yes. Russia 100% believe that it would benefit from getting the president that we elected in 2016 and not Hillary Clinton, who's a real piece of work, and I do not like her at all. Um, so that was a fun election for me. 2016, it's like, oh boy. Like, I seriously worry about people who came out of the voting booth and were like, I think, if my person wins, then America is headed in the right direction. Like, I worry about people who felt that way. And I worry about people who feel that way still, because some people still legitimately feel that way. Like, yep, my person, number one, they are the doers of it. They are the getters of it done, and that's all that needs to be known about that. They really feel that way about it. And it's like, well, you are an interesting so-and-so. But I don't experience the world the way you do. I just don't. Like, I'm sorry. I'm over here living with, like, trying to follow facts and stuff and, like, logic and whatnots. And I know that you have your, like, oh, this is what we like to think might be the case. And, like, okay. Oh, have I had a slime in here before? I don't think I have. I don't mind slimes. Freaking freepers I don't need. Ah, what? Right in the armor. Wait. Okay, got it. Anyway, yay, slimes. So, yeah, yeah. Oh, I don't know how I got into this, but yeah. Yeah, I don't know how I ended up starting talking about, like, the 2016 election all of a sudden. But, like, because I was talking about, like, people not agreeing on the basics of reality. Anyway, whatever. Fact is, like, there's this quote that's often attributed to Marcus Aurelius, and the quote is that, and it's probably definitely, well, it's most likely not him. Probably definitely. That's not a thing. Anyway, to where he says, if there are gods and they are just, then they'll look at my life and they'll be like, hey, this guy lived a pretty good life. Tried to be a good person as best as he knew how. And even though he didn't belong to our special club, like, he's just as good as anybody we got that's in the club. So, like, let's freaking do him a solid, And that is how the quote goes in the worst possible translation. Like if there are gods and they are, like, kind, merciful, and just, then they're not gonna send to hell a dude who's doing his best, like a dude who, like, legitimately is putting out the best that he can possibly muster under his circumstances. Like, because any god that wouldn't accept that would be unjust. And if the gods are unjust, then they're not worth worshiping. Because who wants to be like, oh yeah, the god that I worship, yeah, he's just terrible. He's an awful person and just doesn't treat people with fairness at all. But he's my Lord, and I love him very much, and I hope to be able to go to a heaven where I just sing songs about how great he is all day, every day, because that is some people's concept of heaven, and it is, like, the worst thing I've ever heard. That, like, your concept of heaven is like, Oh, this guy who is so great, who treats me like crap, but I still love him 'cause he is super great. And he was gonna send me to hell, but he didn't, so I think he is super great. And that is the best that I can think of. Like, what? I don't even know. No, I don't understand that as a concept of how to be. Like, that's how you're going to be? Okay. Interesting choices. Oh, there's more molten nonsense. We'll leave that for another time. Anyway. But, like, yeah, I don't want to have anything to do, like, okay, here's a fun one. I don't want to have anything to do with gods who would have anything whatsoever to say about gay people. Like, why are gods so concerned with sex in the same way, like, and to the same degree that men are? I mean, in the Judeo-Christian tradition, in the Judeo-Christian scriptures, you look at the Old Testament, and what are the laws concerning sex? It's like, hey, ladies, no cheating. And men, if you rape somebody, tough luck, you got to marry him. You know what I'm saying? Like, how is that? Like, there's somebody that you're already attracted to, and they don't want to have anything to do with you sexually, and then you can be married to them forever just by raping them? Like, what? Okay. Like, could you imagine if that were true? Like, every attractive woman, you could just rape her instead of, like, trying to get her consent, and then she would just belong to you. You know? If we were actually following the way that things are written out in the commandments, like, holy crap. This is a terrible way to go. And so, like, that there's so many things that clearly favors. So if you just go, like, no gays, and women who cheat are really bad, and don't, like, I mean, I guess the men have things like don't sleep with, Gentile chicks, but who wants to do that anyway? It's, yeah, like, don't sleep with outsiders. I mean, there's that, and that's like the one downside of the sexual code for men, and it's not even that big of a downside for most of the men anyway. And so, like, it's a ridiculous thing, and, like, so a god who would be all right with that kind of a, like, sex code that's, like, so clearly thumb on the scales of, cisgendered men, cisgendered straight men, like, just, God, uh, I if you're God, then you created the people who struggle with, screw that. Like, that's the language of people who want to be like, those who struggle with same-sex attraction. They don't want to say gay, because why don't they want to say gay? Because gay indicates a state of being. They don't want to say homosexual, because homosexual indicates a state of being. How are these people? What is one of their intersectional identities? Gay. It is a thing that they are, it's a hard adjective that you can describe them with. but like you can soften that adjective a lot and make it sound like this temporary thing that this person doesn't even want and that might go away if treated properly. Those who suffer from same-sex attractions. And it sounds ridiculous, but I remember in the debate over should we let gay people get married to other gay people, which, like, who else are they supposed to get married to? They're gay. I mean, I guess some of them marry Liza Minnelli. That's a funny joke and timely and very topical. You gotta get that topical humor in there. Anyway, regardless, but like, who else are they gonna freaking marry? They're gay, but if you pose it as these are people who suffer from same-sex attraction, then all of a sudden these people aren't even like they're not gay, they're not born that way, this is not a part of their identity, this is something that they've chosen. It's like how you could not be a Yankees fan if you only tried harder to not be an insufferable douchebag. Yankees fans, ugh. Anyway, but we all recognize it's a choice. You could choose to be a Yankees fan. You can look at how terrible they are, and you can be like, no, I won't do that. Anyway, but yeah, people look at it like something like that you can choose, an identity that you can choose. Like being a Nike guy, being a Adidas guy, and most other countries do pronounce it Adidas. Like, if you are all about Nikes and you swear that they are the best, and then one day you put on a pair of Adidas, do you really think that you're going to be like, these suck and I hate them and these are the worst that I've ever experienced and God, you know? But like, if you are legitimately a straight man and someone is like, let me stick something up your bum, it just so happens to be my genitals. Like, you'd be like, no, I do not want. And it's like, yeah, of course you don't want, because that's not your gender or your sexual orientation. Like, it's not what is yours. Like, of course you don't want that. Like, duh. But you have to consider the possibility that as much as you don't want that, they don't want what you do. Unless they're bi, in which case they want both. Talk to them about it, I guess. Anyway. Or there's like bi but leans one way, bi but leans the other way. Like, it's a whole thing. There's a spectrum of stuff. But like, really, if you are basing how other people's experience based solely upon your own experience, then you are by definition engaging in an anecdotal fallacy. You are saying that, like, oh, well, my experience should be the universal experience, which, like, nobody's experience is the universal experience. Come on. I mean, like, it's, yeah, it just, oh, what? Hello. It's like that is a very dark thing all of a sudden. Anyway, yeah. So yeah, I don't know what some of the bench. I don't know what to do with this. Like, but yeah, like I don't want to have anything to do with a god that naysays gay people at all. Because most gods out there are gods of creation, gods of having done things of like interest to anybody. So, yeah, to be a god that anybody gives a crap about, they have to have like gotten off their duff and gotten godly somewhere along the way. Um, and typically that involves the creation of the world. Now granted, the creation of the world and all living creatures thereupon, including humans. And honestly, yeah, that's not particularly something that I care about. Like, I don't give a crap about the question of like, did God create the heavens and the earth? Like, we have concepts about how scientifically those things were done. People are always going to be able to pull back and say, like, well, God knows how to follow the natural laws and of the universe, and God knows how to make things happen according to those natural laws, and he's the real doer of the thing. Even though we can explain it in scientific terms, he still had his finger on the button, that made it so. Which is like always a thing that you can say, but like what ultimately is gained by it? Like really? Like what do we get? What's our big cash prize for being like, oh, hooray, God maybe perhaps followed natural laws and did a thing? Then it's like, well, then what we earn is a God that is actually more limited than a God who could just speak and make it so. Like, laws of the universe be damned. I just tell you what I need it to be, and you make it so. Like, get on it. Make it so, number one. Like, come on. You know how to do. Anyway, Kitty, I'm not petting you right now. You are so nice. Here, why don't you sit right here? In the kitty petting zone. Yeah, we have a kitty petting zone now so that kitties who need pets can just get in that zone and that they cannot completely ruin videos by stepping on the keyboards and like pulling up weird settings and closing things and whatnot, causing all sorts of mayhem. Yes, I'm looking at you, Captain Mayhem. Oh, that should be this kitty's new name, Captain Mayhem. Anyway, but yeah. Oh, why you gotta spread so far and so fast, Water? What's that all about? Anyway, I didn't think that it was necessary for you to put these two torches out, so I'm gonna replace them, even though it's stupid that I do that. Anyway, people, let's see. This is gonna no really, huh? What about if I bust up here and then up here? Really? Huh. You are an interesting buckaroony. Anyway, we're just going to continue to play with fire and possibly get burned. We'll find out. Exciting episode of playing with fire, but slowly in boring ways. Anyway, but yeah, like, so let's say you're a god, that you're a creator god, that you made heavens and earth and all things that in them are, and that you made the earth and all things upon it. Pretty solid assumption for a lot of religions that is the type of role that God takes on. If you're in a polytheistic religion, then it's going to be one of several, but that's just how that goes. But anyway, like, Yeah. So, God done went and created stuff. Well, did God mess up or not? Like, did God make a mistake in making homosexuals? Because homosexuals exist as part of God's creation, did God mess up in this instance? Oh, that was a very fast grab. I was going for speed records there. Anyway, because like any God that messes up is like, oh, I accidentally created gay people, is not a God worth worshiping. Like you can't even, like, you're supposed to make everybody the same and you didn't. Like, okay. Because, like, doing it on accident would mean that they were trying to make everybody the same and then just didn't. Or that there's something other than gay that someone could be and they were supposed to be that. But, you know, the mistake. Anyway. I'm just saying, like, who worships a God that makes those kind of mistakes? So if gay people are not a godly mistake, well then, whence cometh they? If this, you know, if the heavens and earth are created by God, you know, I've heard all kinds of theodicies about it. Like people, well, theodicies are like existence of evil, or like why do bad things happen to good people? I don't think being gay is a bad thing at all. Like, being attracted to people other than whom these archaic religions invented by non-literate peoples, like, do I think that you know, that these religions are better than gay people who, you know, are human beings deserving like respect and dignity? You know, like, I do not. I do not think that any, you know, stupid old multi-thousand-year-old concept is more important than the lives and potential happiness of regular schmoes, like regular folks. And some of those regular folks just happen to be gay. So, like, yeah. Anyway, yeah, I got nothing for a God that has anything against homosexuals, because like either you created them this way, and chose to hate them for some reason, or you accidentally made them this way and you hate your own mistake, which that is also childish. Like, you know, if someone accidentally gets, you know, chocolate on your peanut butter or peanut butter on your chocolate, then you realize that you have just invented, you know, Reese's peanut butter cups, one of the great candies of all time. One of the candies, like, that if you get it on Halloween, you're like, oh, I got a good one. You know, like, never a disappointment, Reese's peanut butter cups. Yeah, like you come up with a discovery as delightful as you know, peanut butter and chocolate. Oh, looking at you, all you delightful homosexuals out there. You're as good as Reese's peanut butter cups. Anyway, well, some of you are like, ugh. Because it takes all kinds. Like, let's be honest about that. You know, like, for every Billy Eichner, you've got one friggin' Kevin Spacey, you know, and his coming out as like, oh, by the way, I'm gay. Like, ugh, I realized that that's a real pain in your neck of him trying to be like, oh, I'm not a creep, I'm just gay. That you happen to be like, no, we think he's a creep. Like, we do not condone his behavior. Anyway, yeah, I feel you. Like, yeah, not all of yours are the best. Not all of yours are exemplary. I mean, that's how it is for every group on Earth. But like, boy, you have some delightful people. Some of my best friends. Some family members about whom I care a great deal. Um, oh, and we were at Lowe's today. We were shopping, and the most delightful, helpful person in Lowe's who just walked around the store with us and like talked about what we want to do with our house and like gave us tons of advice. It was like, ooh, I've done that before. That totally works. You could do that. Just make sure you do this and this. Like, and was totally gay. Like, and if not gay, they should really tell their everything about them because, like, this guy is, like, very, very stereotypically gay. Like, think of a stereotypical gay guy, how they would talk, how they would look. Actually, there was a lot of, what's his name? Jeez. Why can't I think of his name? I feel terrible. The gay one from Kids in the Hall. That's a terrible way to say someone's name. Kids in the Hall. Gay. Scott. Scott Thompson. That's who it is. Look kind of like Scott Thompson, this guy. And Scott Thompson is delightful. I've enjoyed Scott Thompson in so many things. He was in Larry Sanders' show. I mean, obviously, Kids in the Hall was just fantastic. And he did some really, really funny stuff there. Loved him in Kids in the Hall. Loved him on Larry Sanders' show as, Jeffrey Tambor's assistant, is Hank's assistant. Like, so great. Like, did a really great job there. And man, what a cast in that show. Jeffrey Tambor, Janine Garofalo, Rip Torn. My God, Rip Torn. Oh, he was so great on that show. And I love Jeffrey Tambor on that show. Like, I love Jeffrey Tambor on so many things. It's too bad he's a Scientologist. Like, they got him. They got our Jeffrey Tambor. We're not getting him back, people. He's too old. He's too set in his ways. It's all about that Xenu, and we're not getting him back, people. Anyway, so sad. Anyway, regardless, let's not talk Scientology because what do we want to do? Get sued? Like, be a YouTube channel that doesn't get any views and still get sued by the Church of Scientology? Like, that would be hilarious. Actually, I would enjoy that. Like, just because, like, somebody would notice, they're like, wait, they're suing a guy who gets, like, his most popular video has had, like, 20 views. Like, for real, though. Anyway. So, yeah, come at me, Scientology. I'm a suppressive person. Mwahahaha. That's right. I'm suppressing your Tom Cruises. Oh, that's right. I pee over the railing of your super yacht. The Elron had the Sea Org. That's that thing. Anyway, regardless, Sea Org. What a silly concept. You people are a bunch of silly gooses. Anyway, silly gooses, I say, come at me with your lawsuits. Prove to me that you are not silly gooses. Because I don't think in a court of law you could prove that you fellers are not a bunch of silly gooses. Now, here's the funny thing. I know that you're thinking to yourself, why doesn't he say silly geese? Well, it's like the Toronto Maple Leafs. Why are they not Toronto Maple Leaves? Well, because it's of the individuals. The individuals acting collectively, not the collective acting individually. There's a difference there. Scientologists don't really know about that difference, but that's part of their problem. Anyway, we're just going to continue onward here. So yeah. Delightful homosexual person helped us out at Lowe's, and we were just really happy. And then we were thinking about like a family member who might be looking for work at Lowe's, and we're like, what if they end up being co-workers? Like, wouldn't that be delightful? You know, like, yeah. And so like a person about whom we would think that, like we just met you to like we really like you and want, a member of our extended family to work with you, like that you've done a good job. Excellent customer service. Good job, you. So, yeah. That's where we stand on that. Oh, geez, it is getting very late, and I don't like that it's so late. Lateness makes me sad. Anyway, let's get to the point. Any god who would damn gay people for being gay, I don't care of what religion it is, there's no god that I want to be bothered with. And so, like, also any god that would damn people who are just doing their best. And that's why I thought of gay people as like people who are often misunderstood or often not accepted by, sometimes members of their own family. Sometimes, they lose friends over it. It's this whole thing. And it could be very rough for them just to be who they are. Like any god who supports the people who are making it harder for these people to be who they are, and is like, yeah, you're doing the right thing. Those of you who are really against gay people, like you're on the right track. That's how it should be. Yeah, not a god worth supporting. And so like yeah, gay people generally out there doing their best. I think all the gay people I know, or LGBTQ people that I know, like all generally doing their best. And any god that would send them to hell just for who they happen to love as part of God's own design, then that God is not worthy of worship and not worthy of me being concerned about. You know what I'm saying? And I think it's funny because, like, okay, this all comes back to a discussion that I had with some very conservative extended family members. And it was a good discussion because we wanted to talk about politics and just be like, okay, where do you really stand? Like I want you to be able to tell me and not be afraid of me getting offended by things that you say. And we wanted the same ability in return. Although where these people live, there tend to be more liberal people, and so they often feel like they're a part of an oppressed minority, which, like, being a part of an oppressed minority makes you so ugh. Like, I just remember the religion I was raised in, where that was such an identity thing of like, oh, we are the oppressed minority, therefore we are right. That's how you know we are right, is that we are the oppressed minority. Like, if we were part of the majority, then that would indicate that maybe we have it too good, you know? And God's not going to let his special ones have it too good. He needs them to be, properly humbled and properly, tried and tested in their faithfulness, um, because they have to endure people pointing and mocking and laughing and saying, like, your religion's kind of bogus, right? Anyway, like, I know what it feels like to think that you are part of that oppressed minority. And yet, like, some of the bench, there goes a bunch of torches. And yet, the religion that I'm thinking of that considers itself an oppressed minority in the state where it is most prevalent, it is a super majority. It's not a minority. It's like they basically control the government. If you're thinking of, if you're like, hey, wait, is he saying Mormons be that way? Yeah, it's true. There's a really interesting article about a former state senator from Utah who's like, hey, guess what they do? They, like, if you are a Mormon and you're in state government, they kind of basically just tell you how they want you to vote, and they do it by, like, not through contacting you directly, but by having people contact your local clergy, you know? And then your local clergyman, who's got his marching orders from the top, will come down and will be like, hey, so it's really important that on House Bill 1745 that you vote no, because, and this is all of a sudden your clergyman telling you this, as a clergyman, and making, and like sometimes making veiled and sometimes making not at all veiled threats against your good standing in the religious community, based on how you vote in a state bill. Anyway, that's some freaking nonsense. Like, that's some bullcrap. That is religion taking things too far. And if you don't agree, then I'm sorry about you being wrong. Are you wrong like this all the time, or is this new? Anyway. So, yeah. People, for real. Yeah, I don't get, you're not going to get any play from me with concepts of evil. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, there are things that are evil, like in Mormonism, drinking tea is evil. Now, granted, it's not as evil as murdering someone, but it is one of those things because, like, these, more fundamentalist type religions have ways of demarking, like, creating lines of demarcation between insiders and outsiders. Are you one of us or are you not one of us? And so, like, something like drinking tea or coffee, which is like just a normal part of breakfast for, billions of people across the globe. If you do that in a Mormon community, then it's a sign that you're, like, you're not one of us. And if you're not one of us, then you're not super special in the ways that we're super special, you know? And God help me if you used to be one of us, if you used to be an insider and now you have through your own choices made yourself an outsider, then you're an extra terrible person who's making terrible decisions and is just wrecking everything, you know. Yeah. So uh I kind of know how that goes. Anyway, um so concepts of evil really don't get a lot of play with me because, I don't give a crap if someone drinks tea or not. I give a crap about whether or not someone is hypocritical or whether or not someone is unjust to others, whether or not someone is oppressive to people who have been traditionally marginalized and need to be marginalized no more. I care about that kind of stuff. And so, like, my concept of sin is not going to be the same as your concept of sin, dear religious person. And I'm sorry that is the fact, but that's how that's going to go. That is going to be the dividing line between us. And I'm sorry that it's going to be, but it's going to be, you know? Because I don't think about sin in terms of like, well, God said no, right? And so, like, we were talking to this very conservative person, and here's one of the things is that, like, I find it fascinating that, conservatism, American conservatism especially, has tied itself to religious notions of identity, to like, well, this is what we should be doing from a from religious concepts of right and wrong. Like, these are religious, this is religiously good and evil behavior, but being played out in a political context. And so, and it's not what you think, because, like, you can give a pass to a guy who, oh, let's make up a thing, has a, uh, you know, uh, porn actress spank him on the butt with a rolled up news or rolled up magazine with his face on the cover, as he's cheating on his wife with this, porn star, just a very short time after his wife has given birth to a child. Like, okay, let's say you could give a pass to that, but you couldn't give a pass to something like, say, someone has an unwanted pregnancy and it is, the result of bad choices, but also the result of, like, difficult life circumstances that just came into play in a number of ways. You know, the person I'm describing is, more than likely not white. Just, taking a guess based on the everything we know about how these things tend to work. And so, like, yeah, can you have a situation where someone feels like the only option available to them is to get an abortion? The only option for them to live the life that they feel that they need to live. Because that's one of the things, is that, like, it's all about the life of the child. It is never about the life of the mother, because women, it smacks of, like, this whole thing where, like, women are supposed to be baby machines and whatnot. you know. And here's the concept that I get on board with right off the bat, that I'm all about 100%. Oh, some of the bench is that, like, I am not a person who is really happy with the idea of abortion. Like, I'm really not, because it's disgusting. It is one of the most disgusting, and not just from a I don't like medical procedures point of view. I don't like medical procedures, but like it is also disgusting from a, like, that could potentially be a human being point of view. But like, guess what? We don't like to think about the other human beings in potentia that we are ending on a regular basis because of how we conceptualize them, not because of any concrete, difference between them, but because of how we conceptualize the difference between them. So, like, fertility clinics, and some people are just going to be rolling their eyes because they're like, I've heard this stupid argument before. But it's true. Fertility clinics end more human life in potentia than abortion clinics ever could. It's an unfortunate fact about the world. Not a happy fact. See, what? Oh, it's this one that's off. I'm like, why? Anyway, so, yeah, not a happy fact about the world. Not something that we like to think about. But yeah, like, there are all kinds of circumstances by which someone can have, like, anyway, so, yeah, sorry. Let me drive this point home first before I move on to what I'm going to say next. So, fertility clinics end way more human life in potentia. How and why? Well, because they're trying to help people who are not pregnant get pregnant. Okay, well, what do? Well, they take genetic material from the man, they take genetic material from the woman, they combine it under laboratory conditions, they grow it up to a certain point, which, like, hey, guess what? All of you birth begins at conception people. Conception is the point at which at which sperm and egg meet. And that happens very frequently at fertility clinics. Like, that's pretty much all they do is have sperm meet eggs. But do they keep alive all of the sperm and eggs that meet? No. No, they do not. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, well, some of them are not viable. Okay, yeah, some of them are not viable. What does it mean for these specimens to be viable? I don't know. I'm not a freaking doctor, but I know that some of them are deemed not viable and they are therefore terminated, right? Well, but, oh God, jeez, that scared the crap out of me. In many cases, there are, yeah, I heard that undead white and I thought it was behind me. Anyway, in many cases, there will be a couple will go in for fertility treatments, and there will be multiple viable specimens. They will not all be implanted. They won't. Fertility treatments often result in multiple births, twins, triplets, etc., what have you. But even so, like, they're not implanting every viable, I don't know if they're zygotes or what, like what technical um definition they are at that point. I have no idea. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a medical professional. But this is something that you can verify for yourself. So what is it that they are doing? Hold up. I gotta check and see what these kitties are doing. I don't know why it always goes back. Anyway, regardless. Okay, I remember way back when I was talking about people being on the right side of history. Well, these people with whom I was talking, they were saying, hey, you know what? People who believe in abortion are going to find that they are on the wrong side of history because abortion is modern slavery. Just like it took America hundreds of years to figure out that slavery was wrong, it's going to take them hundreds of years to figure out that abortion is wrong. And they're going to find out, and then they will know, and they will feel terrible about themselves that they somehow missed the easy idea that abortion was wrong, right? Okay. Well, here's the thing. Is that, like, number one, I cannot help but think of the many, many benefits that have been brought into the lives of women since abortion has been legalized. You know, more women are able to enter the workforce. More women are able to, like, live the lives of their dreams and, like, do what they want to be doing with their lives because they are not victims of an unplanned pregnancy. In so many cases, if a man gets a girl pregnant and he didn't plan to get her pregnant, then what happens to him? Well, maybe some child support is in his future. Maybe an early marriage is in his future. But, like, he is still quite likely to achieve his hopes and dreams, because his hopes and dreams are much more valued by society because, he is not the mother. Because we have the weird thing where it's like, hey, mom, you get stuck with the kids, and you could tell me that it's because of nursing and nurturing and whatnot. Like, look, I was a stay-at-home dad for a number of years, and, like, I will run you ragged on these kind of discussions. Like, you don't want to step into the ring on these kind of discussions. Like, you ain't prepared is what I'm telling you. Anyway, so yeah, like, I'm glad I did not come across all those undead whites. But yeah, like, so women so very often get stuck with the bill, men get to go do what the men do, and then the women just suffer the consequences in ways that men don't have to, and it's like, how is that fair? And it's not. It's demonstrably, obviously not fair. And you can give me well, nobody said life was fair, and you got to think about the consequences. Boop-a-doop-a-doo. Like, okay, sure, all right, but, like, you know, it's a situation. I hit Q instead of W. I'm so glad I'm not standing next to lava. Anyway, but like honestly, I need to go make more stone pickaxes. Uh so many more women of color face a difficult situation with the pregnancy because of so many factors, and and it's so much easier. Like I tell my students all the time, the vast majority of whom are lower income, non-white people. uh I tell them all the time, I'm like, look, hey, if I get my wife pregnant, meh. I mean, I won't be thrilled about it because we have as many kids as I want to have. Like, I don't want to have more than two. There's wife of mine. There is a uh, female child of mine. There is a male child of mine. Like, we have replaced ourselves on the planet. We need to do no more than that. Like, any more than that, and it's dangerous. I mean, where are the resources going to come from to take care of all these freaking people, you know? But then again, like, we have the ability to be thinking in those kinds of terms because we are privileged white folk, college educated, working college educated jobs. And so, like, yeah, if the missus were to get pregnant, it wouldn't wreck our lives, and it wouldn't wreck the life of the kid who was born into our family. You know what I'm saying? Like, we would love him and take care of him or her. I know I'm saying him. That's just my natural, sexist nature. But like, we would love the kid, just as much as any of our other kids, obviously, because it would be our kid. So, like, you don't love the kid any less just because it's unplanned. Why would you? And anyway, so, but yeah, we would totally be able to take care of this kid because we are like part of the dying American middle class. But in order to be there, we have to both work. So, and that's a thing that, like, birth control is a big part of that. Guess what? Birth control. Look, if you're anti-abortion and you are anti-birth control, then you are pro-stupid, because your greatest your greatest armaments in the battle against abortion is the following things, like scientifically accurate sex ed taught in a way that is shown to actually, decrease teen pregnancy and increase the likelihood that teens won't get pregnant, which includes telling them about condoms. Yes. Yeah, I said it. Look, my older brother, who is a Catholic priest, the one who just died recently, he and I had a discussion about this, and at no point did I hold over him the fact that I have children and he doesn't, and the fact that, like, I know what it's like to have sex and he does not. Haha, like, nope, because he's telling me about the pull-out method and how effective it is, and how, like, people don't have to use birth control and blah 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 blah. And I'm like, nope, because, like, you could tell me all you want, but, like, freaking, yeah, what are Catholic families known for? Being small? Small Catholic families? Is that what we hear about all the time? Oh, no, we hear about friggin' large Catholic families? Yeah, that's because, like, as a method that people can actually rely upon, friggin' your rhythm method, your pull-out method doesn't work. Doesn't work in people's actual lives. Like, I'm sorry, it doesn't. Like, I didn't invent high birth rates among Catholics. Like, that's y'all that invented that. I mean, I didn't say it in such rude terms, but this is the discussion that we had. So like, you want to keep people from getting pregnant, then get freaking real. You know what I'm saying? Like, um, and I don't give a crap what some guy that I don't believe in says about anything. He is not in charge of me and my life. And I don't know why he should have any say in me and my life. You know, like, uh, parents can teach their kids what they want about birth control at home, but I think the schools should have a responsibility to teach accurate information. Like, hey, condoms work. If you're doing the pull-out method, well, I know a lot of freaking people with kids. Like, saw a kid at the grocery store is like 3-4 years old now. At that pull-out method, that's what that was. You know, a girl had to graduate early so she could avoid having a kid while in high school. Guy had to miss his final season of football. Boo hoo, boo hoo. I mean, as far as taking responsibility, this is like very minimal because like now he's working and she is like just at home. And is that what she wanted to be? I don't know. I never had her as a student, so I can't say like what life dreams of hers were shattered with this child. But like, fact is, people, like, unwanted kids are the problem that abortion solves. And if you want to get rid of abortion, then you need to have a solution to that problem. You need to have another solution that actually works. The solution to the problem of unwanted kids. Because, like, are people going to stop having unwanted kids? They're going to stop being unplanned pregnancies just because you made abortion illegal? No, because I'll tell you what the science says. I will tell you what the science says. The science says that when you take away abortion, you don't. You don't. You don't take away abortion. All you do is make it less safe. And I know the argument that you could throw out there like, oh, well, what we're really saying is we don't want any part of a government that would sanction the wholesale slaughtering of babies. Okay. All right. Like, look, I admit that it is grotesque to pull out of pull out of someone's body a mass of cells that looks for all the world like a human, like an infant human. I shudder to think about that. I think it's disgusting, and I think that but here's what I will admit that a lot of people who have very staunch stances on abortion will not admit. I don't know at what point human life in potentia is human life in potentia. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know what the clear-cut point is at which, is it when an egg becomes fertilized? Because guess what? 80% of fertilized eggs get flushed out of women's bodies naturally. Like, there are women who are sexually active who have had fertilized eggs inside their bodies and had no idea, and will never have any idea because they didn't get pregnant, because the woman's body just flushed out the cell like it does with so many others. It just, said, hey, we're not going to attach to the uterine lining because that's not what we're doing right now. We're just gonna pass through the body like we do so very often. That's what happens 80% of the time. 80% of human lives in potentia pass through women's bodies. Okay? So, how do women's bodies make the choice? Because clearly there is some system in process by which women's bodies are like, yeah, this one, nah, that one. You know what I'm saying? Do women's bodies know anything about the vitality of those embryos and whatnot? No. Like, I don't know. We don't have anything that says yes or no on that. As far as I know, I could be wrong, and I would be delighted to be shown wrong on that. But when I say wrong, I mean bring me a scientific study. Anyway, so like, if human life in potentia exists when sperm touches egg, then we should have no fertility clinics, because that should be as grotesque to us. And I don't give a crap that, like, it's two people who are trying to become pregnant. It's still a matter of human life in potentia being ended intentionally for selfish purposes. Oh, I want to be a parent. Oh, okay. Well, you can't combine these things naturally and have it work out. So why don't you go ahead and take someone else's unwanted kid? Nope, I want a fresh one that looks like me, Like, oh, okay, well, that's not selfish. Yeah, we'll go ahead and we'll science the crap out of this and, test tube it up, make this thing happen, and then all of the non-viable parts we're just going to chuck in a dumpster. Like, how is that not reprehensible to us? It's a bit of a trolley problem, because, like, a lot of people will say, well, it's not, because it's a couple that's trying to become pregnant, but it's like, Dad, the end result is the same. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have murder and we have manslaughter, but we don't go around saying, like, manslaughter is good. You know what I'm saying? So, like, why are we allowing the mass, like, scientific manslaughter of babies? In the name of having one baby, we're allowing the scientific manslaughter of mass numbers of others. How did we decide that that's okay? How? Well, we didn't. We did not. Okay? And so I'm not arrogant enough to say that I understand how we came to these decisions. It has nothing to do with our religions, because our religions do not make any reasonable proclamations about such things. You may think they do, but they don't. If you say, like, life begins at conception, okay, how? You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you know that? And also, like, from a scientist's perspective, they'd be like, that's debatable. Because what do you mean life? Like, because sperm are alive, therefore menstruation and masturbation should be illegal. Like, women should be forced to always be pregnant in their childbearing years. No menstruation. That's terrible. You're getting rid of potential human life. And masturbation, you're committing mass genocide. It's, millions of human lives in potentia. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I'm not so arrogant as to say that I know everything about abortion. I don't. And also, I think it's gross. I think that actual abortions are gross. But then again, you're not going to find a lot of pro-choice people who are like, oh, I don't think they're gross at all. I think they're beautiful. Like, no, you're not going to find that. There's not pro-choice people who are like, every abortion is sacred. Like singing songs in the parking lot about, like, how wonderful it is to get an abortion. Like, no, that's not a thing. Like, you have Covenant Transport. You have a trucking company driving trucks all over the country that have the emblazoned on the back, it's not a choice, it's a child. As if they know so much better than any of the rest of us, how and where to draw these lines. I'm not arrogant. I don't say that I know where and how to draw these lines. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. But I'll tell you this. If you don't want abortions, then give people condoms. Give people IUDs. Yeah, I had to stop and think. I'm not talking about weapons of mass destruction, right? I'm talking about intrauterine devices. Yeah, give people IUDs. Give out condoms. Give out the pill. Subsidize Plan B. Which Plan B? Not an abortion pill. You know what it does? It takes that process by which women just naturally flush out the fertilized egg. It just takes that percentage from like 80% of the time up closer to 99% of the time. That's all it does. It's not an abortion pill. Like, get the freak out, because an abortion pill would be like kills human life intentionally that we definitely know would have been human life. Nope. We don't know. That's the fun thing about Plan B. Oh, why am I talking? That's the... Hold up. I can't tie it. That's the fun thing. Anyway, that's the fun thing about Plan B, is that you don't know. You don't know if it's, like, definitely a human life. You don't know if you're, like, not attaching a fertilized egg that might have become the next great whatever. Like, you don't know. But then again, you don't know the 80% of the fertilized eggs that were flushed out of women's bodies. You don't know if there were, playwrights greater than Shakespeare in there. You don't know. You just don't know. You don't know if there are actors greater than William Shatner in there. You don't know. There probably are, but you don't know. You don't know if there are actors greater than Sir Patrick Stewart. Well, you know that a little more sure, because Shatner, easy to easy to beat there. The Sir Patrick Stewart, hard to beat. Hard to beat that Picard. Anyway, regardless. So, like, could we all stop pretending that we know 100% that, a condom is the same as an abortion? Because if a condom is the same as an abortion, then masturbation is the same as an abortion, and you should punish teenage boys who masturbate the same way that you punish women who have abortions. You know, like, makes sense to me. Makes perfect sense to me. And not just teenage boys. You know, statistics say that it's in the high 90th percentile of grown adult men who are also engaging in such practices. Anyway, I really need to go to bed. So, yeah, like, to be told, like, I thought it was fascinating because I really hadn't considered that. Like, am I on the wrong side of the abortion question? Well, how's about the fact that, like, I don't like abortion? I don't. And so, what do I support? I support actual factual sex ed. I support the pill. I support Plan B. I support condoms. I support like all of these IUDs. You know, I support further research to find better and more effective ways to make abortions not necessary. Because I agree that by the time it's an abortion, it is disgustingly similar to killing a child and seems, well, man, it just seems an awful lot like that. And if it seems an awful lot like killing a child, then it's a terrible thing. Now, granted, like, women's lives improved immeasurably with the ability to do this thing, and women will do it. They 100% will do it, whether it's legal or not, because they are the ones that get sidled with the unwanted children. The men, by and large, don't. And so they are the ones that have to figure out, what do I do? You know? And so, like, there will always be, if there's not a, like, safe and legal route, then there will always be unsafe illegal routes. And you know what? I don't like those at all. I like those so much less than the safe legal route that I am not willing to oh, is that copper? Anyway, regardless, I'm just not willing to trade on that, you know? I'm not. Anyway, I'm going to come down here. I'm going to put a 5 and give me a torch. Anyway, yeah, like, women's lives matter. Like, I don't know how else to say it other than make it seem like another one of these slogans that when people hear it and it's not firefighters and policemen, you know, that they're like, oh, if you aren't saying firefighters, policemen, and our troops, then you're, you know, a commie. Like, I'm sorry. But women's lives do matter, and it's so much easier for a woman to get sidled with a child that she does not want, that she did not plan, and that her partner, in not planning it, will not suffer in the same way that she will, by, you know, taking on these consequences. You know what I'm saying? So, what can we do to prevent this awful circumstance? Well, I'll tell you what we can do. What we can definitely do for sure. What we can definitely do for sure is that we can make it less likely that a woman would get an abortion in the first place, with decent sex ed, with subsidized Plan B, with you know, UTIs and the pill available on everybody's freaking insurance. I don't give a crap you work for Hobby Lobby. You could go kick rocks, Hobby Lobby. Why do you get to tell women how to live their lives? Why? Like, because you're a religious person? I don't give a crap if you're a religious person, Hobby Lobby. Like, you could be a religious person all day. Like, first of all, I think it's stupid that anyone would confuse you, a multinational corporation, with a person. Like, what kind of a, mentally deficient person would you have to be to look at, like, a governing board of a large corporation and be like, or like the business holdings of a large corporation, and be like, this is a person, you would have to be a special kind of stupid to think that. But even if you did, what in your, like, addled little brain would you be like, oh, well, this makes this person so much more important than all of the persons that work for this person? You know what I'm saying? Like, do we do that in other realms? Just be like, the boss's life matters more than anybody else's. This is definitely true. Like, come on. You know that that's absurd. And so, like, you freaking make it easy for women to get the help that they need so that abortion isn't even a question. And you can moralize all you want and be like, oh, well, they shouldn't be, having sex in the first place. Uh, yeah, except for, I'm sorry, but your God made men attracted to women and vice versa, except in certain circumstances in which he made men attracted to men and women attracted to women, and men attracted to men and women, and non-binaries to be attracted to whatever they want, and like, that's how God made him. Either that or God doesn't possess the power to make people right, which makes him not a God worth worshiping. Um, so, yeah, this is freaking deal with this crap. This is 2021. Like, for real. I don't have any amount of time for someone who wants to tell me, like, abortion is so wrong that we can, like, shred the Constitution of the United States so that Mitch McConnell can, play monkey business with, the approving of Supreme Court nominees, um, and that is a good thing that we're going to do, uh, because we are so morally right, and we're going to uphold that, uh, so that we can get our anti-abortion judges. We're just gonna, like, basically tread upon the founding documents of this country. It's so important, but you are not willing to go the very obvious step of, like, well, let's take care of the problem at its core. You're not going to take care of the problem at its core? Well, fine. I guess you aren't really interested in taking care of the problem, then, are you? That's what it comes down to. Anyway, I don't know why I got on this, but that's where we ended up. It is called Riff and Craft. I guess that was more of a rant than a riff. I mean, like, come on, people. That's what it do be like. That's what it do be like. All right, we gotta quit. We gotta quit this business. We gotta go back to the infinite regression. We gotta go back here and just be like, hey, people, for real, 2021, let's all do better. Let's all stop pretending to have surefire knowledge about things we can't possibly know for sure. And let's all stop using our belief systems to punish other people and to strip rights from them. Like, let's not make that a thing. How about instead, Let's use our resources to make other people's lives better, both women and the potential children that they might have. Hey, you want to make a woman's life so that she doesn't want to have an abortion? Pay her more. Like, because honestly, if myself, like, if if my wife got pregnant, I wouldn't be happy about it. Why wouldn't I be happy about it? Well, because like family packs or 4-packs and stuff, like there's so much stuff that the world is just planned around the idea of the 4-person family in so many ways. It would mess up like vehicles that we own, where we wouldn't have enough seating in some of them all of a sudden. Well, in one of them, we don't have that many vehicles, we have 2. And like bedroom situations and like all kinds of stuff that it would mess with if all of a sudden we had another kid. But you know what? We would be fine. Like financially, we would bear the burden. We would be fine. You know what I'm saying? And so like we wouldn't take any steps to abort such a child. Why? Because we could freaking take care of it. And even though it's unplanned, we'd be like, I guess that's what happens sometimes, like, haha, fun little, happy little mistakes. We're going to name this kid Bob Ross. Like, yeah, how about that, Hobby Lobby? Pay your women more, so that it's not even a possibility that any of your employees would ever consider getting an abortion, because they're paid well enough that if they were to have a child, they've got paid leave, they've got, like they've got maternity leave, their husbands have paternity leave, and they're able to take care of that kid. And like, because you care about that kid, right? Like, oh my God, so many things. Huh. I must sound like the most liberal of liberals ever, but I swear to you, like, I really find abortion an abhorrent thing, and I really do think that it medically is very like killing a baby. And I don't like it. And I would like to reduce as much as possible the likelihood of that happening or needing to happen for anyone. I also recognize that I would rather a woman be able to go to a clinic and have that terrible, terrible thing done than to have her throw herself down a flight of stairs, or, have a guy in a back alley in Tijuana take a coat hanger. Like, I would much rather her have access to a doctor under such circumstances. I would rather it not happen altogether. But like, come on. We can't always get what we want. Sometimes we have to live in the world in which we live, and we have to make choices based on that world, not based on like, well, my deity says, well, your deity is not believed in by everyone who is at this bargaining table, so maybe don't bring him up. Like, not everyone at this bargaining table believes in your imaginary friend, so maybe he's not relevant right now, because like, we'll all agree to not bring up any of our imaginary friends if you shut the crap up about yours for a goddamn second. Like, you don't hear me talking about what Emmylou Harris thinks about abortion, because what Emmylou Harris thinks about abortion is not relevant to the discussion of what is best for all unborn child, mother potentially giving birth to an unwanted child, all the things, all the people. Like, come on. Emmylou Harris doesn't have anything to say about that. Friggin' Luke Skywalker doesn't. Flying Spaghetti Monster doesn't. Yahweh doesn't either. I'm sorry. like, because he doesn't represent everybody at that table, therefore he shouldn't represent anybody at that table. Oh, I'm sorry, you think you get special dispensation? You don't. You don't. Why should you get special dispensation? Why? This is freaking stupid. Anyway, that's it. That's it for this one. I'm sorry if you listen to this. If you listen to this, your money back. These are not monetized, so all of that money back. Your time, unfortunately, gone. You'll never get it. Okay. Bye for now. We'll see you in the next one. Okay, bye.